Oh dear, ten seasons we've been doing this. 4 long years of FPRL. And we're right back where it all started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to season 10 of FPRL. 10 champions will be crowned at the end of this 14 race calendar. And opening the curtains tonight are tier 3s. Much like the last few seasons, we are in for an absolute barnstormer of an evening. And let's see how the trials and tribulations of pre-season have shaped up tonight's grid. As you can see, our drivers have been assigned their machinery, and a certain return for some to an old team, certain new faces as well across the paddock. But it's the same old voice of Tier 3, it's Cruiser 1872. Welcome everyone for tuning in. Thank you for spending your Monday nights with us around Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia. And joining me, much like pre-season, please welcome back the Irish ace, Croster Day 1888.
Yeah, good evening, Cruiser. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, just as Gary said in the chat, we are getting old. 10 seasons, and still the games aren't getting better. Hopefully, these tier threes, though, this season can put on a good show and try to get this one to go to the end of the season. But don't think we need to worry about that just yet, as we're only in our first race and just our first qualifying. And it looks like it's going to be Major Allen that's going to get first lap time on the board for this season.
Yeah, the Haas, the constructor of last season's champion, Destroyer Drac, who's made the step up now to Tier 2, much like, if I'm correct, our Tier 3 champion, Panic End, from Season 8, and Destroyer, both making the step up to Tier 2. That's what the winner of this season has as we draw the curtain at the end of the campaign on F124, thank God, and on to F125. We've got a couple of Twitch Prime subscriptions in the chat. I see one for Fish Sticks, a couple of Channel Point redemptions for Mr. Silverside Boy, and a Tier 1 subscription too for supporting the channel. Thank you all very much. And again, welcome to the opening night of Season 10, on board with Major Allen, the car that took Destroyer to his first championship in FPRL with 2 races to spare. The Haas throwing it around turn 9 and turn 10, so easy to invalidate there, and the changes made to this track, it is so much faster than it was before by around 10 seconds. Now it's just nothing but 4 DRS zones and a couple of corners in between, so DRS trains will be present in the race, as there's an Aston Martin trying to keep out the way there. That looks like Rayman, who is one of our newest drivers in the field, doing his bit to keep out the way of Major Allen, using as much of that battery as he can, and gets the banker lap on the board, a 1:18.7. Still plenty of drivers left to go, and there's another Aston leaving the pits. Got to be careful because the pit lane here is a little bit finicky. A Sheriff Woody now in the Sauber on a 17.6. Their teammate Leonardo, another debutant, as Major Allen gives a little love tap there, I think, to Reese's Pieces, trying to stay out of the way, and that's wing damage there for the Major. That is not ideal. Rainbow on a 19.2, and their teammate, and not just their teammate, their fellow family brethren, the Tattoo Star, father and son, united at last in FPRL. Rainbow on a 19.2, and the Tattoo Star having a decent performance in our pre-season, up to what was second, dispatched by Locker on a 1:18.0. The time's starting to roll in now as I see another Haas crossing the line. That is Wizard of Oz. Keep an eye on them in this championship, and all eyes at the top, a 1:16.7, already nearly a second ahead of the pack. And Wizard of Oz, he is here to play, and he's here to play by his own rules, Cross, today.
Yeah, he's just kind of kicking off where he ended last week. Obviously, took the win in Bahrain in the pre-season. Got a bit unlucky in the first lap, getting punted by David, but obviously came back with a great drive, take that the win, and it doesn't look like he's stopping just there. With what is that, nearly 9 tenths on the rest of the field with 13 minutes to go. This could already be settled by the looks of it for the Haas driver.
And of course, much like the new season, we're all rusty in the commentary box. I forgot to mute my microphone for a second. There we go. Godfather, a 1:27.4. They're definitely going to have to do again. The Flow, another driver who's had a couple of inconsistencies, I would say, throughout Tier 3, but he's always found a way to be up there at least at one stage, as that was a full right lock going through turn 3. Diamond Duchy with Twitch Prime for 18 months. A lot of subscriptions coming in for the new season. Thank you very much for the support. And of course, every ounce of support helps us grow the brand. We're still at 3 tiers, and we're hoping to maintain that throughout Season 10, as we're going to follow the flow. And one thing I'm going to point out quickly too, Frosty, the ERS usage is going to be very important. When do you use it around the lap? Because you're very tempted to use it around Sector 2, but that is just the one endless straight. Or do you use it in short bursts throughout the track? We'll find out what the best strategy is throughout the evening, as there's an improvement for Godfather up to second. Speedy B a couple of hundredths behind. Lockton improved to a 17.6, narrowly ahead of Sheriff Woody. Josh making his debut in the Ferrari, as the flow is all sorts of snappy going around the final couple of corners. That Aston Martin getting a little bit tail happy around this track, and a 19.5, definite room for improvement for the flow, especially with a bit of a messy end to the race. No, not quite the race actually, his qualifying lap. Hopefully the race goes much better than that run.
It's just very snappy, as we've seen on the last sector. Obviously plenty of time to find for the flow. But yeah, as you're saying about the ERS usage, kind of tactics, I think we shouldn't be using too much of it down that back straight. Obviously you've got plenty of DRS zones around this track now. I think it is 4 DRS zones to use. That is one of them. And crucially though, it's one of these tracks that the deployment isn't the problem. It's actually the battery percentage. You could run out of battery before you use up all your deployment around the lap, so it's kind of have to be pretty tactical and be pretty sparse in some points with this battery, and maybe have to turn it off in some parts of this track just to try to save some.
Well, full deployment here for J Undisputed, a former race winner. Last time picking up a victory around Singapore in Season 9 on a 17.2, still half a second down in Wizard of Oz. Just perspective on how good that lap was there for the Haas driver. And it looks like the opening stages are done. Wizard of Oz still leading the way by 4/10, and Diamond Duchy given a tier 1 subscription to Arzen in the Twitch chat. So thank you for that, Diamond, for a good bit of generosity. And hello to Major Allen, taking a bit of a breather in the pits to give us a little message and a little hello. So I say that hello back. Our Gummers sliding it around turn 1 and turn 2. You've got to be greedy around this track. You have to be. Otherwise, you're just not going to make up the time, as Crusadoro is getting himself hyped up and excited for Season 10. And Diamond Duchy, much like Silverside Boy, reminding us to hydrate, as an Aston Martin that spun round there. That is the flow, who's having a torrid time around this track. Wonder if that setup's anything to do with it, as we're going to follow the Mercedes down this never-ending Sector 2. Near enough flat out, except for that turn 6, turn 7, throwing it to the right hand side, hoping it sticks within the white lines. And already that battery down to 10%, and sliding it in towards turn 9 and turn 10, just keeps it under control there. There's the Mercedes driver, and another one of the new drivers. We got a full grid of them actually. As I mentioned, Rayman currently following our Gummers. Thierry in the Ferrari, usually it's Allez les Bleus, but now it's Allez les Reds. No, it's not quite French, but it's good enough. We got Josh, and we have Leonardo in the Sauber. A couple of new faces in the tier, looking to freshen it up. And our Gummers looking to put himself in amongst the pack, right in the middle of it actually, up to 9th. And a lap time that could have been better. And like you said, Crossway, that ERS is going to play a couple of drivers tonight.
Yeah, we just have Sid Sandwich come across the line, P2 again. He had very little battery left, but still sets at 17 dead. Still just over 3/10 behind Wizard of Oz, so he's still up in that P1. So at the minute, it's going to look like it's going to take a cracker of a lap to get anywhere near that Haas. But we should start seeing everybody coming out for their second runs, as we do see the track does start to pick up, a bit busier. Everybody trying to get a bit of space. One I will be looking out for is hopefully going to be Godfather in the McLaren. As I say that, though, he has very little battery, so it looks like it's not going to be a lap for him to push on. But I think he could be one to look out for towards the end of this session.
Certainly keep an eye out on everyone, but Wizard of Oz going for another run, just starting at there. As we're going to give a little bit of stream time to one of our new drivers, Thierry, driving the Ferrari. His first time out in FPRL and given the Scuderia. No pressure, because that is arguably one of the most famous brands in motorsport. as around sector 2, already 6% on that battery, now flickering around 10%. This is where you don't really get as much effect with the battery because it is so low. And in towards sector 3, he's got to pick his braking point as early, but also be as brave as he can, rides it along the white line nicely, and around the final few corners into this somewhat slow medium speed corner of the penultimate corner, and the final corner, pins it on exit and gets as much of the battery as he can muster up to the line. It's going to be a 1:18.7, and I think if he's kept that in a straight line there, he might have went ahead of Major Allen, who is looking to finish his lap on a high note. Much more battery than what Thierry had around the final corner, and uses every ounce of it. Can he break into the 1:17s? Not quite. It's a 1:18.1, but still leaves him 16 for Tattoo Star, and Leonardo has invalidated his run as Wizard of Oz goes even faster, just stretching his legs ahead of the pack. Sid Sandwich got within 3/10, and Wizard of Oz says, nah, know your place. Half a second between himself and the pack behind. Who else is on a run? I spy a certain Button in the Alpine, a man who's made a name for himself in qualifying. It just hasn't come together in the races, and hopefully that voodoo comes to an end tonight around Australia. Around the final couple of corners for Button, using whatever battery he's got left. Can he break into the 1:16s, at least raise an eyebrow at Haas? He does. Button, the second driver into the 1:16s, and at least gives Wizard of Oz something to think about.
Yeah, that's probably crucial for the rest of the field that one driver has been able to do this. Just doesn't allow Wizard to maybe think everything's over too early now. Yes, gap's down to what, 3/10 it looks like. So fresh set of softs on for Button, dump the fuel out of the car, a few touch-ups in the lap, and maybe this could be on for the Alpine. And I tell you, this could be the shock, because at the minute it looked like for 15 minutes here that Wizard was going to have this, and maybe it's not going to be as easy as he wanted.
See there, it looks like Sheriff Woody has ran out of fuel in that run, so he's not going to go any faster. Let's go to Locker as Cactus, formerly Zafir, has left the session. I don't know if I've got him added as a friend. It says Locker just keeps it under control. Well held for the teammate of our Gunners in the Mercedes. We'll keep an eye on Locker for the rest of this lap, or at least what we can of a pause menu, because I am going to try and get Cactus back in this lobby real quick. If you see a name, give her a little hello in the chat. Oh, there you go, Crosstry. Hello, there's you. Do I have him? Yes, I do. Right, we'll send an invite there to Cactus. Let's see if we can get him back in for the end of the session. Get a lap on the board as Locker, around the final few of them, got a lot more battery in hand, but that mistake around turn 6 will have cost him some time and enough time to abandon that lap. So Locker currently 10th, and look at that fuel split too. Between the top 9 and 10th place down, there's a buffer of around 4/10 between Locker and Speedy B. So I think for Locker, he's got to find at least, I tell you, if he finds even half a second, that puts him from 10th to 4th. Just an idea of how close qualifying is around this track and how important it can be towards your race. Got Leonardo, who's finally got a lap on the board, though up to 7th, right behind his teammate, who is going to probably get another set of tyres on. And as we end the second set of laps, I see Josh on another run, probably just starting that lap. We've got Thierry in the pits, the flow well out of position at the back, hoping to get that lap on the board. Sid Sandwich still in third, and is actually on a run. Let's see where he is. Centre in sector 2 already, 2/10 up. This could be something here for the RB driver. Crosstry, you think he's got a chance?
Definitely, I would say Sid Sandwich has a great chance at this. He just needs to conserve his battery, just over 2/10 up through the first sector, make that 4/10 up now through the first 2 sectors. He just needs that little bit more. Uses a bit of his battery with the DRS coming down the run in the middle of sector 3. Picks out a good braking point, gets a corner and then very nicely to the apex. Tries to hug the inside here, just runs maybe a slight bit wide towards the penultimate corner. Needs to get the car slowed down, which he does nicely, and now should be pretty much foot to the floor, to the line, rents his battery, opens the DRS, and this is going to be close, and he backs off it, so he doesn't think he was there. With that kind of time left, that's a bit of a silly one, I think, from Sid Sandwich with 3 minutes to go, that he's backed off on that.
He might have backed out that a little bit too late, unless he can hurry back to the pits. I don't know. if he's going to get another run in, as Godfather is on a run. He's up to 3rd, displacing the RB. Reese's Pieces on a lap. He's up by 10th. He's got to find another 5 around this final sector, but he keeps a bit of battery in hand. Let's see what he can do as Cactus, well, Sophia, is saying he can't join due to the fact there isn't another McLaren AI to take over, and that's a disaster for Zafir. I know your name's Cactus, but I'm so used to saying Zafir. Reese's Pieces up to the line. He breaks into the 16s ahead of Button. So that gap's slowly starting to come down now, and that's why Wizard of Oz hasn't quit yet. He's going to go out for one more run, but who realistically can challenge him?
I think the one we really have to look out for is Button now on a fresh set of softs. Would have dumped the fuel out. He's midway through the second sector, just coming up to the end of the second sector now, so he will have plenty of time. As the Haas of, looks like Major Allen in behind for a bit of company. Maybe that could be a bit of team tactics from the Haas guys. Try to put off Button when he is on his lap. But at the minute, it looks like it's just going to be this Alpine as the way things stand. Other guys, maybe Sid Sandwich. We've seen him back out of a lap that looked like it was going to be good. Now he's got an extra lap on them tyres. If he can pull the one out of the bag, that'd be a great one for the RB. As you see someone right off in front, it was the Ferrari. Looks like that was Thierry, was it? No, it wasn't. It was the other Ferrari, it looks like. But I think definitely Button will be the one to look out for.
Yeah, him along with Godfather, Reese's Pieces, Sid Sandwich, R. Dummers on his final run too. But we're going to follow Speedy B, drifting it around turn 13, kissing the quote-unquote yellow line. And Speedy B's done. That is it for one of the Red Bulls. He's going to qualify no higher than 10th. But I suppose that buffer back towards Locker and company, he might just be safe with that. Locker going to go for his run. Josh is on his final run, but I think after that mistake, he is going to be at 5 seconds. He's going to just hurry and try and make it to the line, but he's got to be careful not to hold up the car behind, because that is David Lawface on his final run. He's getting a nice little tow there from the Ferrari, and David, we haven't really mentioned too much in his qualifying session. Doing his bit for the Alpine team, as I'm starting to joke. Not going to help.
As Diamond in the chat says, hydrate. Come on, Cruiser, hydrate. But we do finally finish these last set of laps. It looks like Button will be coming across the line. He was just under a 10th down, or 10th up, sorry, on his time. So it doesn't look like he will get there, but he comes to the line. He does get there with a great last sector, 16.4. Now it's all on the Haas driver of Wizard. Can he reclaim that top spot, because he's been there for the last 16 minutes? Can he do it now? He comes across the DRS line, all the way foot to the floor. It looks like he could get this one. He does get it, 16.2.
Looks like Reese's Pieces is done. Nah, yeah, I'm slowly starting to. That's a reminder as to why you should hydrate in commentary, because this is what happens. Whereas R. Drummers is down in the time. G Undisputed's on the run, but is invalidated. And at least I can catch my breath. Between the races, I probably sound very poorly right now, but we'll finish up qualifying strong, which is what Sheriff Rudy wants to try and do. His teammate Leonardo right behind him on track and right behind him in the standings. Sheriff Rudy up to 4th, tracking effort from him, gets the lap when it counts. What about Leonardo? Puts himself up in 8th, and that'll be good for the Sauber team, their best qualifying in a year realistically, compared to what they managed in the actual F1. Silverside Boy says that David's been drinking because David thought that the timer ticked to 0. He let go of his controller and smashed into a wall, which is not what you want to do. Sid Sandwich is done, and despite a scare right at the end, Wizard of Oz pole position for opening night.
I think he was just maybe playing with the field, knew what he was doing by the looks of it. Obviously now we've got a 2/10 gap to Button. In fairness to him, he had a great last sector, with where he found it looked like it was going to be 3/10, 4/10 in the last sector alone. It was a great push from him, but Wizard of Oz, he's controlled the whole qualifying session by himself, and I think he's just happy enough that he's maybe had to do it the hard way, but he's done it either way.
It's a good thing I've got another bottle of juice in back right here as well. Oh dear. Yeah, I apologise for that. My voice was shot for the last 5 minutes. Sid Sandwich saying he messed up sector 3 in the second run, had no tyres left. It is what it is. But You live and you learn, Sid. You live and you learn. Tattoo started up by half a second and lost the rear at the fast chicane. Easy done as well for the Tattoo Star, who ends up qualifying down in 17th. That might be a costly mistake for them, but Australia has been known for track penalties in the past, so you keep the zero round here, anything's possible. And Wizard of Oz, 2 tenths in hand over Button, Reese's Pieces, Sheriff Woody, Godfather up in 5th, and his former team right behind him, Sid Sandwich in 6th, our drummers in their debut, sharing row 4 with Leonardo and it's Undisputed and David Lawface. All things considered, I think he'll be happy with the top 10. So as we get ready and set to go racing for the first time this season, bright sunny skies down under, how lovely. And, well, now comes that point again. Grocery, what do you want to talk about?
Well, we talked about last week how we thought Rangers were going to pump a League Two side, but it just looked like it was the other way about. So I
Yeah,
think I'll give you a break on that one.
yeah, expect some shade from us too. One's orange, one's green, you know.
One's top of the league, one isn't.
Point made even further.
um,
And, yeah. But being serious, what do you want to talk about?
I'm easy, man. We got 3 minutes to somehow kill. Or we've kind of messed up Rocket League for the past few nights. It's been terrible. What is there to talk about?
Death, taxes, and an inevitable F124 crash and burn.
I think that crashed and burned the first day it was out.
Yeah, fair enough. And a good evening to Alfie in the chat, tuning in. I've actually not recognised that name for a while, as Major Allen has found the Truth or Dare redemption and has challenged yours truly. So, Major Allen, do your worst. I select a dare. Please keep it civil, though, keep it PG, because we're not trying to get off the air on the first night. That the disaster, as Cruz the Dodo is wanting cuddles. I promise I will give you cuddles after this is done, okay? Cruz the Dodo is very, very impatient. He is. He's just impatient. You want to say hello? Oh, he's just gave me a little boop. Nice. Couple of drink redemptions. Diamond, I'll take that very seriously after qualifying. And we still have one from Silverside Boy 2. As I say, Major Allen, with the channel point redemptions, of course, for watching and supporting the streams, especially throughout Season 10. Good evening to Dynamo Dan as well. I just seen that pop up in the chat. Yeah, hi, I see you, Dodo. Our channel point redemptions are used as incentives. Oh, well, Major Allen, you have to hold off on that channel point incentive because we've got what was 3 lights, now 5 lights around Albert Park, and it looks as though Wizard of Oz has had a terrible start. He might have suffered with what Button did in pre-season. That is causing a whole load of litter to be discarded on the track. Wizard of Oz sleeping at the start, and that might be a serious problem for later on in this series if it doesn't get fixed, Codemasters. I want that fixed immediately, thank you. But Button taking full advantage of what's trust him last time out around Bahrain in the pre-season. He leads around sector 1 with Reese's Pieces in second. Sheriff Woody, Sid Sandwich, Godfather, Leo from 8th up to 6th. Good start from him. Rayman having a good start too, as there's a yellow flag in the background. That looks like a multi-car collision with Rainbow going backwards. Thierry and Cactus, who has got in the lobby, has just about survived the opening exchanges. But for Wizard of Oz, what on earth is going on here with these dashboards?
Yeah, that's just 2 weeks in a row. It's just not acceptable at all for league racing, you know, especially when it's your pole man. But it shouldn't be anyone that has to deal with that there. He's cost himself and he's cost other drivers now to have damage when they really shouldn't have to. I thought he was maybe just not back in time. Obviously, we have a couple of minutes break to allow guys to get a drink or anything like that there. I just thought he wasn't back, but obviously he's just been caught out by not being able to see the lights. And that was all it looked like for him. So he's done it last week, coming from the back. It looks like he's going to have to try and do it again this week.
So this week's when it counts. Button in the pits, and our Gummers is the one who's had the worst of that. He's in the pits, no doubt, for a front wing change, as Reese's Piece is a bit deep there in towards turn 2. And of course, lap 2 of the race, DRS is activated, but the detection point is not up until the exit of turn 6, which is in around 2 corners time, as Button weaving it left and right, and then right again around turn 5 as Josh already got a 3-second penalty, and it looks like there's a collision at the back involving Josh and the Tattoo Star. Been a terrible start for the evening for the Williams driver, and it looks like Locker's had problems too. He's been spun round there, and yep, everything's happening right now in Melbourne. David's got front wing damage. Thierry somehow nursing his way through the field. We'll jump on board now with Rayman, Wizard of Oz, trying to restore a couple of places, getting by Speedy B on the hard compound tyres as the Haas. Rayman Alexis sit behind as into the fast left-right chicane. That is steep there from Speedy B. That compound tyres, and on the exit as Rayman himself uses the track and more to get ahead of that Red Bull. The both of the Williams down at the back. That is a terrible situation for them. But Rayman also has front wing damage. We're seeing a lot of carbon fibre littering this track here. As I see Diamond saying that Locker is fuming, I would imagine so. As Rayman just about rejoins there ahead of Speedy B and promptly decides to enter the pits along with the Red Bull, who he overtook recently. As Speedy B's actually decided to call it there. Unless that's a forced retirement, that's certainly not the way Speedy B envisioned the season starting.
It's really been a shame. The first 2 laps all started obviously with the start, and it just looks like it's compounded from there. A lot of guys with the wing damage. I don't know if Speedy B has called it a night, or has he actually had a bit of a problem with the car. We don't know just yet. Obviously we should find out pretty soon, but yeah, we already see 5-6 cars having to pit for new front wings. They have quite a bit of work to do just to try to get back in this race, and probably hoping for a safety car. But at the top, Reese's Pieces is keeping Button, who is on the mediums, pretty on touch. Entry of cleared by Sheriff by 1.5 seconds.
See in the background there, Sheriff Woody is no longer the one behind Reese's Pieces. That is now Godfather, who on the hards is up to third. And we'll now have a look at positions. Who has won the most at the start? And that answer, ironically, is the man who missed qualifying, that being Cactus. Up 10 places, helped through the pit stops. That is right there from Button, just keeps it in boundaries. Reese's Pieces sees that though as an incentive to get right up behind that Alpine, looking for it in towards turn 1, thought about it into turn 1, elects not to do it into turn 1, and just sits behind with the DRS a little bit longer. Looked for the overtake, but shuts that DRS down and knows his better chance is down at towards the turn 9, turn 10 chicane. And Major Allen up 9 places himself, keeping himself out of trouble for the moment, is the Haas driver, the teammate Wizard of Oz, obviously one of the biggest losers at the start, not having the HUD for the start lights as Leonardo was dropped out of turn 5, and there's your safety car for those who pitted early. Leonardo's race all but over after 4 laps, and I think that is a very common mistake for if you're driving around Australia. You run too wide at turn 5 on the curb, and there's one way your car is penduluming, going, and that is into a barrier.
Yeah, there's no chance for the Cyber driver there. As you say, once you touch that grass, you are basically a passenger at that stage. No chance to get the car slowed down. So 4 laps it's took to get the first safety car of the season. This is going to help everybody from our gummers all the way down who have pitted.
Oh, I think the audio might have tried it there a little bit for Frostry. I saw his icon speaking, but I didn't hear him talking.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know.
Well, whatever it is, you're back now, so that's all good. But for Reese's Pieces and Godfather, they're kind of forced here to stay out. Major Allen is going to pit along with Sheriff Woody, Button, Sid, Jay. Cactus lets to pit as well, so that's strange. Obviously forcing himself to a 2-stop if he does have, I suppose in a way he will have all the fresh tyres, because he missed qualifying. Or as a force change for a front wing damage. Locker's going to get himself back up to the pack as well, get on to a fresh set of hards. Our drummers are going to go through, along with Rayman, who's actually going to pit too. That could be more wing damage. Seen plenty of front wing damage at the start of this race, as there is Major Allen out ahead of one of the Mercedes. Cactus is going to emerge alongside, not just ahead of David Lowface, as Thierry's got to stop with those 10-second penalties. He's in to serve one and he's just got one back. So he's got to keep his speed in mind, the one time you want to be conservative in an F1 car.
Just not what the Ferrari driver wanted, especially on his debut. Picking up 2 10-second time penalties is not going to help his chances whatsoever. obviously the safety car will be out
Ah.
for a couple of laps, so it should
Yeah,
get him back.
yeah, pardon me for a slight interruption there, but Wizard of Oz has confirmed he didn't have any lights at the start of the race. He didn't have the 5 lights on his screen. I'm actually
So
who qualified on pole for our pre-season? What I
Wizard?
think. It, and then Button didn't get it. That's strange. Anyway, I'm going to have to refill on my drinks. I'll be back in just a few minutes, folks. I'll leave the kiosk today.
Yeah, no worries. I think a drink's well needed for Cruiser after the end of qualifying. I've never heard a Scotsman sound so bad in my life. It's bad enough when he's normal. But yeah, under safety car, look at the winners and losers, although some guys haven't pit who are at the top, which is Reese's Pieces Godfather and Wizard of Oz, who has made his way back up through the field, taking a bit of advantage for the safety car, staying up in P3. But go to the position changes. Tattooed Star, as it stands, is up 10, so he's a big gainer out of this one in the Williams. One of the losers, not too many big losers. Looking at our Gummers, who's lost 4 positions. Rayman also 4 positions, and the rest of them are kind of on 2 or 1 of Wizard of Oz, Button. They both down 2 positions, but that is because of the safety car and boxing under the safety car. Yeah, that was quite a mental first couple of laps to start off the season. It was one of them ones, I think, a lot of rust in the drivers. Obviously, we haven't raced in quite a few weeks since the end of season 9. These guys still probably need a couple more laps to get everything back into check again. But it looks like everything is as you were. Everybody's got the front wings changed. Front wing damage should be no more for anybody else. A couple of time penalties on the board for both the Ferraris. Josh with a 3-second time penalty, and Thierry, as we've seen, did pick up a 10-second time penalty, so he will have to serve that. Should have safety car out for one more lap, I would say, and then we will get back under the racing with Reese's Pieces, who will get us underway.
And I have returned. Thank goodness you saved us today. That's the most talking you've had to do. And Twitch chat, because Major Allen is driving, he did redeem a truth or dare. Open truth or dare to me. I selected dare. Keep it PG, so we can do that throughout the evening when we get a chance. And as well, more incentive to get interacted with the commentary team. We have safety car questions as one of our channel point redemptions. Around 500 channel points, if I'm correct. Again, keep the questions PG. I am looking directly at you, Crosby, because some of the questions that you had in the past, they are very, very suspect. I'm not going to repeat them.
They're suspect, but
them.
I don't have to answer them. That's the thing.
Exactly, that's why they're suspect.
Oh, it's better when you're watching to do it. It makes your night, you know.
Yeah, no, it's better to watch. It's not fun to answer. So,
trust me, man. I've had the same fucking Katy Perry a couple of seasons ago. I think I'm happy enough now.
Just having a look at our pit stops there. Rayman and Thierry have made 2 pit stops already. Button and Sheriff Woody, though, ahead of the Flow and the Tattoo Star, who elected to stay out. That's going to help them. But even at the same time, if the front 3 have kept their hards in check, it's not really that much of an offset in tyre wear, I wouldn't think. At least 5-6% maybe. Because as fast as this track is and as high speed as it is, tyre wear isn't really that bad in the hards. But for Button and Sheriff Woody, they could technically go to the end of the race, but I think 25 laps and a set of hards, there's going to be nothing but understeer, and it's like driving a tugboat towards the end of the race. Anyway, safety car is in the pits at the end, as, oh my goodness me, the Flow at the background there. I think that just about sums up his evening. He's losing it under the safety car, and now the field has got basically a free position there ahead of the Aston Martin. That setup, I think, plaguing the Flow. Looks like Adrian Newey hasn't quite worked out the kinks yet of the new car. Reese's Pieces getting ready to lead them around the final corner and start lap number 8 of 29 on this, the opening night of season 10 and the opening race of tier 3. Sheriff Woody looking punchy, looking to get by Button as quick as he can. The Tattoo Star looking to invite himself down the inside of the Sauber. just about gets it stopped in time as the Williams, but forces Sheriff Woody to get a 3-second penalty as there's Sid Simons getting checked up there behind the Tattoo Stars. Teammate Jay looking to go one way or the other, looking to get ahead of his teammate. Breaks a little bit later, and Jay invites himself down the inside, but Sid Simons shuts the door on him, saying, "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, you're not getting ahead of me." And the Tattoo Star, a bit of a rolling roadblock right now for these folks behind on the fresh tyres. Button and Sheriff Woody running away, but their own little escapades allowed the top three to break away even further.
This is not what the two RB guys need. Obviously on the fresh hards, they're starting to battle each other. They need to get through Tattooed Stars straight away. It looks like Sid Samuels is going to try to do that round the outside of turn 9. Needs a brave man to stick it around here. He gets this contact. I said it needed a brave man to get that one to stick. It obviously just wasn't going to happen. A 2 into 1 does not go around turn 9 and turn 10. You need both drivers to be on the same page, and sadly that just didn't look like that was the case. Cruisers is dead or something.
Yeah, like I said, it's the new season. We're working at the kinks. But what I was going to say is here, Sheriff Woody is almost giving Button the hurry up, or he's going to go past him in towards turn 3, and Button holds firm, holds strong, and is only, I say only, he's 2 seconds behind the top 3 who haven't pitted yet. Sid Sandwich now joins the 3-second club, as Godfather and Wizard of Oz electing to join the 3-second club himself, wanting to give Reese's Pieces the hurry up and say move it, because Button and Sheriff Woody are right behind us, and I'm not wasting any time as Locker joins the 3-second. I mean, we all don't want to talk about Fight Club, but don't join the 3-second club, that's what it is. As Godfather and Wizard of Oz get ahead of Reese's Pieces, but the Haas on the 3-second penalty, that will hurt them towards the end of the race. Godfather leading for the first time this season in that McLaren, exchanging it for the RB, as there's another yellow flag. It looks like Josh has got even more problems. He's really suffering around this track, as there's a move here for the float with a Tattoo Star. The Tattoo Star just holds on ahead of that Aston in 15th place. Meanwhile, who else are we looking through the pack? We've got Major Allen tucked up behind our Gummers. David and Rayman having a fight here for 11th place, and Cactus, ironically, where he started a safety car period, as there's another mistake there. Rainbow spinning it around the penultimate corner as Edo's Wizard of Oz making a move, and late move for the lead here. We'll jump up to this, and Godfather doesn't want to give it up easily, but Wizard of Oz forces his way around the outside and retakes lead of the race, as Rainbow has been disqualified for parking it on the track. Oh dear. Oh, Rainbow, it's just not meant to be tonight.
That's definitely not what the Williams driver wanted. I don't know if he was beached on the last corner or what happened there, but it looks like that's the end of his night with a disqualification. But Wizards got through the top 2. Now he's got a chance to pull away, but that McLaren in behind now with the DRS will have a look down towards turn 12, gets round the outside, gets the move done well before we even get to the corner, but goes too deep. That's going to allow the Haas of Wizard down the inside. Can he get this one to stick? Plenty of room was given. Godfather just runs out wide.
We're cutting here across the race. Godfather himself has problems. There's even more problems there for Josh, as there's been something up ahead and might have been involving Sheriff Woody.
We have our Gummers at the back. He was tagged left, he was tagged right, he was tagged up the rear. He's done a full 360. He's got the car back straight, but I think he's carrying a bit of right front damage, so that's not going to help the Mercedes of him either.
Oh dear, it's all kicking off in the field. But while we were going through that, Major Allen making a brave move on the Mercedes, but himself getting caught up in a collision with Cactus, and that has put pay to both of the Mercedes. One down in 12th, one down in 16th, both of them on time penalties. But exactly what the top 3 wanted to avoid is exactly what's happened, because Sheriff Woody, Button and Jay and Sid are now within DRS range now, the top 3 who still haven't pitted yet. We're on lap number 11 of 29. We've got around 19 laps to go around Albert Park as Cactus makes his move on Rayman, and Locker making his move on David Lawface, the 2 wise men of the league, the veterans of the league. Locker wins that fight and is up now into 11th place. Granted, on slightly fresher tyres to David, but both of them could still technically get to the end as Thierry is giving David the hurry up. But locking out up to 11th and looking to hunt down a couple of points, because that is where Rayman and Cactus currently are. But a quick shout out though to Major Allen, 8th place, and running his own race, keeping himself clear of that McLaren. But one thing I would do, I would put that battery on down the main straight, because that's just lost you around half a second, as there's even more problems for Williams, a tattoo star, down now in 16th place. It's just, I think this is one of those nights where you forget it happens, and you forget it happens quickly.
Yeah, it looks like that could be the case for the many of the front drivers as we have massive crash. Wizard of Oz has been tagged at the back.
Been collected.
And he's
Oh
upside
my
down.
goodness me.
Barrel rolls from a Haas.
Oh my god.
Oh!
And up there you go. And it looks like the Aston there of Rayman helping Wizard of Oz back in his how do I say this? Back in his front. That's, oh dear. And Radical's chipped in with Russell. Is that you? It was one corner too early, Radical, but goodness me, Wizard of Oz, that is an almighty collision between himself, Reese's Pieces, somewhat escaping that, almost unscathed, but I see a front left end plate that has damaged, and by damage I mean is not there. And so we say, boy, can someone check if he's alright? No, he's not. He's out of the race. And Classer Lads has chipped in for the first time tonight saying, what on earth was that? Not quite in those words. And Wizard of Oz confirming in the chat he's okay. A slight bit of whiplash, and yeah, I think whiplash is the worst of his problems. After that collision, goodness me, I've not seen a crash that big in a lead race, and now I have. Good luck to anyone trying to beat that, and I don't mean that as an incentive. Anyway, lap 13, we've had it all so far in our season opener. Godfather leading the way on a clean slate. Reese's Pieces also on a clean slate, but Sheriff Woody, Button on a 3-second penalty between them, 3rd and 4th. But Sheriff Woody down to Major Allen in 7th place are on hard compound tyres. They have pitted and they can get to the end. The top two still need to pit, and when that happens I don't know, because the VSC wasn't too kind to them. They were hoping more for a full safety car, but Reese's Pieces full charge around the outside at turn 9 and makes it work, and has a DRS to help defend it towards turn 10. But Godfather's not ready to this up too easily. He's going to look for it, he thought about it, but the DRS is just too much. Reese's Pieces now takes the lead as there's a move further back involving Cactus and Major Allen. Cactus now up to 7th place. Major Allen looking for the cut back to one. He exit. He's going to invite himself down the inside at turn 13. Cactus on the fresher medium tyres, got better grip than the Haas, and stays ahead up to 7th place. 4.5 seconds now to the lead group, but both of them are going to be throwing the hammers at each other in towards turn 1. Major Allen going to send it down the inside, looking for it, thinking about it. He's going to just sit back. He's actually going to look for it. He breaks it a little bit later, forces Cactus deep, looking for the cutback now around turn 2 and turn 3 as further ahead. Cactus's teammate Godfather getting into problems himself, getting overtaken by Sheriff Woody. Button now trying to go around the outside of G Undisputed. Sid Sandwich hanging in there. Sheriff Woody now up to 2nd. Button now up to 4th. And now, this is where things are going to get sketchy. Reese's Pieces and Godfather have to watch out, because this might actually not be a fight they want to be in.
Yeah, they could really cost their own race here just by trying to fight off these guys on the fresher hards. But we see that Sheriff Woody gets the DRS round the outside, gets that move done before he even hit turn 9. But this is all just changed within the space of a lap, it looks like. Sheriff Woody, fresh hards, in the space of what, 1 lap, get up 3 positions to the lead. His Godfather gets looking for a move down the inside. Reese's Pieces defends that though well around the outside. Keep that P2 for now, and will be able to give Sheriff Woody a bit of a battle with the DRS down into turn 1. But this 6-car field that we have, obviously the 3-second time penalties and the pit stops still take effect. At the minute it looks like it could be J Undisputed, or just J Undisputed, sorry, the ones that haven't pitted, that are really benefiting from all this one.
That he is, as we'll have a look at the penalties graphic. Godfather joins the club as well. Himself, Sheriff Woody, Button and Sid, all, well, 4 of the top 6 on a 3-second penalties. Button looked for it down the inside there, Godfather. Reese's Pieces on a clean slate but has to pit. Jay right now is arguably in the best position to take at least the temporarily lead of the race, due to the penalties he has. Major Allen gets back ahead of Cactus and is up again to 7th place. He can't quite break the DRS though. He's going to have to worry about that later on. G Undisputed on a healthy-ish battery, as there's another spin there involving the flow. His race, yeah, it seems to be going from bad to worse, if it can get any worse than what it was. Shadows in the chat, good evening to you. The Tattoo Star gets into the 3-second club as well. You don't want to be in that. But G Undisputed wants to be in 4th place. Down the inside he goes on Button. Gets the squeeze there on the Alpine, who spins into his teammate.
That was definitely not in the book for the V-Carbs. Just tended down the inside, maybe just push Button off a bit too much. Button losing it on the outside in the gravel. Obviously spins into his teammate of Sid Sandwich, who now has to pit again. Will go on to a fresh set of mediums to the end. And Godfather, who is now finally deciding to pit to get onto softs actually to the end. So he's looking 15 laps on the softs. That's pretty brave from him.
Yeah, Shadows agrees that Doddle did not like that. He did not. A bit unfortunate though for Sid, who's found himself down towards the mid-pack. Major Allen up now to 5th place. He's got to keep himself in check. And as I say, good evening to Shadows. Wizard of Oz kicking back in the high chair, happy that he's survived that collision, an almighty crash involving the Haas, and the only one to somehow get took out and all that. And I'm not going to pronounce. Basically, Shadows is cheering on the RB. That's all I'm going to say. But G Undisputed now in a perfect position. If he can just stay within at least a reasonable range to Reese's Pieces, he can't get towed too far away. David Lawface actually up to 4th. And that just shows the early pit stop doing its bit. Major Allen now 5th. Rayman in 6th. Godfather on the fresh softs in 7th, as theirs is a very long VSC taking its time. Josh somehow finds himself in 8th despite all that's happened to him. Sid Sandwich and Cactus down in 10th, but penalty free, and got a whole lot of track in front of him to use as we get back underway at racing speed. The gap between Jay and Sheriff Woody is 2.1 seconds, and Sheriff Woody's on a 3-second penalty, as that is a terrible time. With a virtual safety car to end for Reese's Pieces, he might just lose out here to Godfather and even to Sid Sandwich, who's only 7 seconds behind the McLaren, as Rayman pits as well. That is the confirmed 2-stop for the Aston Martin driver. That's going to be mediums to the end, no doubt. As actually, Reese's Pieces hasn't lost out drastically. He's only a couple of seconds there behind Josh, and he's got himself fresh mediums to the end. It's going to have to be nothing short, though, of qualifying pace for Reese's Pieces, who, as we have a look at the positions, if we can find it, qualified up in 3rd. So as long as he keeps that pace up in the race, as there's Major Allen electing somewhat aggressively, there's Godfather saying, get out of my way. Major Allen lets the McLaren through, not choosing that fight, and is down now to 5th, but still up from 18th to 5th. He'll be very content if he stays there towards the end. But Josh now, with the DRS and the Haas, he's going to go one way and now look the other way, around the outside, clean around the outside of Major Allen, who goes from 4th down to 6th place, and now we focus our lead at the front. Sheriff Woody versus G Undisputed. Can Sheriff Woody pull the 3-second buffer? Can Jay keep the 0? Or could Godfather, or even at that, can Reese's Pieces close up to them? And for some strange reason, 14 seconds and 17 seconds and fresh tyres, you have 12 laps left. I think you make every one of those count.
You've said qualifying laps. It needs to be even better than qualifying laps, it looks like, at this rate. Godfather, though, is starting to set the pace in the 18.9 fastest lap, which is expected. Just needs to try to dispatch of David Lawface when he gets there. 2 seconds up the road, so it should be next lap. He will get the DRS, try to make that one a bit easier. Then he can start getting on the horse to the top 2, but we still can't count out Reese's Pieces on the fresh mediums. No time penalties on his case. Same kind of thing for him. Needs the dispatch of Allen and Josh to try to get his foot planted up the road, and it looks like he might try to do that on Allen, or he's just going to wait for the DRS. He's had a big slide though. That's not going to help his chances, but still will get the DRS on the run to turn 9 and 10. So we should see him go round the outside, I would expect, before we even get there, I would say.
Certainly closing up. Major Allen, he's doing everything he can here to stay ahead. Reese's Pieces elects just to sit back for a couple more corners, take the hit around the chicane, and now get the slingshot on Major Allen. using a bit of the grass there just to ensure he has enough space and gets ahead of that Haas. That's one dispatched, and next up for him is going to be Josh. 5th place on the debut for the Ferrari driver. He'll be very happy if he can stay there towards the end. We're going to have 11 laps to go when we cross the line. Sheriff Woody 1.6 seconds ahead of J Undisputed. David Lawface has just been overtook there by Godfather. I think David has just chose to let him through, knowing it's not worth it, and that the softs might just die off towards the end of the race and just lose all the grip that Godfather has early on. As Reese's Pieces down the inside at turn 3 gives Josh a little wheel bang there saying, I'm coming through, and Josh says, fair enough. Reese's Pieces up to 5th. Next up for him is now David Lawface himself, and that gap between Sheriff Woody and Reese's Pieces, 15.2 seconds. Make that 18.2 because that balance is now matched. 3 seconds for Reese's Pieces, and that is now just played even more into the hands of Jay.
This is all now with Jay just trying to keep good, consistent laps now to the end. Doesn't really have to worry about trying to push too hard on Sheriff Woody. Them softs towards the end of this race will die off pretty hard, so he should be happy enough on these hard tyres. They will get him to the end. It's just being consistent, no silly mistakes, keeping the battery at 70%, which is going to be helpful for him if once Godfather does get to him, because he will inevitably get to him. But it's just going to be whether he can actually pass him.
I've looked further down. Let's ignore some of the fights at the front. Let's have a look at this fight here for 9th place, involving Button, who's on his own little charge, trying to salvage something from this race. Rayman in the points himself, battling away with another debutant, R. Dummers, but Cactus on the 3 seconds. Well, I say he's not on the 3 second penalty yet. He's the only one of us 4 that doesn't have a penalty of 3 seconds. So as I said, Cactus goes from 12th to 9th. Just sit in this little express for the moment, and you'll get your rewards at the end of the race in 10 laps time. 10 laps to go. And that gap between Sheriff Woody and Jay is now drew to 2.3 seconds, and Major Allen has now joined the 3 second club. Only 4 people currently yet to join it, that being the Flow, the guy we are on board with right now, Cactus. A little bit slow there going around turn 5, and a little bit switchy going around there at turn 6. David Lawface and J Undisputed yet to be in that 3 second club, and the Flow's now joined it, and then there were 3 to be in the 3 second club. Let's have a look at the Rayman having a considerate look here at Button. Can he use the DRS and catch up? He is on the softs, so Button, it looks like, is on the mediums as through the chicane. You see how much more confidence Button has as Rayman sliding it everywhere. That's going to invite the Mercedes down his inside as J Undisputed now joins the 3 second club, and now the advantage he had is now gone. I have now cursed 2 drivers in a lap. Welcome back, everyone.
Some things never change, do they? Commentators' curse will always live.
Some things shall eternally remain. As actually I see that our Drummers has got front right end plate damage. More incentive for Cactus to keep in the back of them. As actually, you know what? Shadows said this is VCARB season. I'm taking partial blame along with you. So yeah.
We were worrying about Godfather on the softs. He's just pushed out of that 1 second. But David's sticking with him towards the end of this race. So David could be on for a podium. Obviously, with the time penalties, it's going to be a bit easier than what it should be. But Reese's Pieces that we still can't count out for at least the podium. And as I say that, another commentator's curse strikes from turn 9 and turn 10. Reese's Pieces spins it on the entry of turn 10.
Oh dear, so easy done, but he rejoins now just ahead of Sid Sandwich, and he loses out the place there to him and Major Allen, who lost 7th place, has now promptly got it back. So if he ends this, I think this actually might be the best result of Major Allen's tenure in FPRL. As Josh, that's somewhat slow there heading around the penultimate corner. I wonder if he had a problem there. But David Lawface, all over the back now of Godfather. Those tyres must be shot already, and he's only been on them for around 5 laps here. 6 laps now for the McLaren driver, as further back, yeah, I think we see an Aston Martin. Actually, that is not who we thought. That is Rayman, who's starting to suffer a little bit and has lost out massively to the Mercedes, and Cactus, who's also joined the 3 second club. Oh dear. Right, I'm not going to say it. David, you're our only hope.
And he says it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and a good evening to United Tommy saying Reese in a Red Bull looks weird as he's a Mercedes fan. Well, that's the lucky of draw for the teams this season. I mean, I myself got in the Aston Martin, a car I actually wanted, and Cross today, yeah, he got a car he didn't want.
I've had it
Let's
for
just
too many
say, let,
seasons.
let, let's just say the car he's in is a car that's now up in 7th place, ahead again of Major Allen, who's nursing 17 lap old tyres to the end, and he's got a 7-second buffer over the Alpine of Button down in 9th. Major Allen might just be onto something here at the end of this race. If he even gets a couple of points, he'll be happy. As Godfather, I think that realisation of I chose the wrong tyres, and this will be nothing short of qualifying laps to the end. Another set of softs. Can he somehow claw back, dare I say, 5th place? He's got a lot of work to do because he's got to get ahead of Major Allen. Is he ahead of Button? This is going to be pretty close here. Jump on roll with Button as he sees the McLaren ahead of him, and Godfather into turn 1 is ahead of Button. That is crucial for him as Button now in a bit of no man's land. He has dropped the Mercedes into the clutches of Godfather's teammate Cactus, trying to get and wrestle that final point away from the debutant of our Dummers. Major Allen still 7th place, but Godfather, he's going to be considerably faster. So Major Allen, you must know your fight by now. Reese's Pieces trying to catch up again to Sid Sandwich, 2.5 seconds behind. Sid Sandwich a bit of a lonely 5th. Josh having a cracking effort in 4th, albeit a lonely 4th, but all the stuff he had at the start, the safety car really helped him out. And can David Lawface nurse it home to get his first podium since a victory at Baku all the way back in season 8? David Lawface doing what he has to do as our Drummers puts pay to his defence of a debut points finish, and that is now, how many penalties that is? 6 seconds for our Drummers, and now 11th place as Cactus has got ahead of him into turn 10. So now, as the order is, it looks like Josh might actually lose a couple more places here because he's on 9 seconds of penalties compared to Sid, who's on 3, Reese's Pieces, who's on 3. And it looks like, just as it is right now, I'm doing the numbers in my head, Josh will finish 5th. Reese's Pieces is just out of range of that Ferrari.
Yeah, it'd still be a good debut, a good race for Josh in that Ferrari. We've seen at the start of the race for both Ferraris, it was absolutely terrible. One of them, though, been able to work his way through the field, big help with the safety car. 21 lap old hards, though. Still a couple of laps to get them to the end. They will be dying pretty hard here. We should start to see these guys slide like mad. We do see, though, David Lowface starting to fall off the back of the top 2. That gap's out to 10.4 now. Not that he's going to be too concerned, but Godfather now on them fresh softs gets through Major Allen. He's going to try to get this big push, try to get P4, or maybe, well, yeah, P4 probably looks like it's going to be the best for him at this rate.
I make that around 5 seconds he's got to make up to get there as Thierry, a penalty played race for the Ferrari driver, a teammate Josh doing all he can to salvage a point, and the Tattoo Star doing all he can to get up into 12th place. As there's Rayman, he got on the grass, and that's put the flow ahead of them too. Rayman, it's all fell apart for them towards the end, and a reset to track, but they were on the curb. So we'll let them away with that one. That is your trump card, though. Do not use it again because you might get a penalty. Anyway, we've got 5 laps to go, and Sheriff Woody has broke a 3-second barrier to J Undisputed, so even if Sheriff Woody does get another penalty, he will finish ahead of the RB and take hit. Oh my goodness me, I've seen a 3 seconds pop up. Unfortunately for Josh, that's how I'm going to put him behind Godfather, even as this stands. 9 seconds aggregate these cars have over that Ferrari, and if Major Allen wants to get 7th place again, he's got to put his foot down. He might just have something to say at the end. Meanwhile, it looks like Jay's assault has burnt out. The fuse has gone for the RB driver. And Sheriff Woody looking to get his 2nd victory in FPRL, and his 1st victory, ironically, another season opener back in season 8. So Sheriff Woody, a couple of seasons in the sidelines, looks to finally take back the centre spotlight, especially with the likes of Wizard of Oz, Leonardo, Speedy, and looking through the pack here, Button down in 9th. This is going to be a very good start here for Sheriff Woody, just if he can hold on, and for David Lawface too, to get another podium to his extensive collection in FPRL. You can't go wrong with a podium on the opening night. Meanwhile, who else we got? We got Godfather right behind Reese's Pieces, looking to make this a net 5th place, as the McLaren driver got far more battery than the Red Bull, and I think we know where he's going to launch the attack. What about Cactus? No far behind as the teammate of Godfather. Our drummer's just ahead of him, and it looks like Cactus equally looking to launch the attack down into towards turn 10 as Reese's Pieces, game, set and match there against the likes of Josh, unless he can keep within a 6-second buffer. But Godfather looking to get ahead of him and is up now into a net 5th. But for Reese's Pieces, can he keep close enough to that McLaren and get some DRS to rein him into that Ferrari? I don't know, because as we cross the line, we've got 3 laps to go in Australia. Sheriff Woody looks to have this one under control, and Jay Undisputed, you see him in the background, it's so tantalising for Jay. He just can't quite get within the range he did before.
Oh, it just looks like the tyres have given up on him. So it looks like it's going to be P2 at best for the V-Carb. Still a great race. Just a shame that he did pick up the time penalty. It did look good in the middle of the race for him. And he did have the 5-6 cars battling within half a second of each other. But at the minute, it looks like our closest battle on track is towards the end of the points with Button and Major Allen. Major Allen with a great drive tonight in the Haas, starting from P18, I believe, up into P8 for now, starting to try to defend from the Alpine of Button to try to secure that P8 with penalties that will stay as P8. So that'd be a great result for him.
Cactus back in the points now, ahead of our drummers. Up to 10th place goes the McLaren, and again Button and Major Allen looking to try and get a couple more points here as the Alpine driver. It just doesn't seem to go their way for some reason. I don't know if it is just a strain of bad luck, but indeed it is a very poor run of form for Button, a man who we know can do much better than what he is capable of, and it just doesn't seem to click when it matters. But Major Allen, give us everything he's got to try and keep at 8th place to himself, and still, I was going to mention about that Josh having 12 seconds, that he's got 7 seconds to make up to Reese's Pieces. I think Major Allen at best here is going to end up in 9th unless Button cannot get past him, as we have 2 laps left. That gap between Sheriff Woody and Jay Undisputed, 2.6 seconds, and Sid Sandwich now up to 4th, so that is now that confirmed on track. And as it is, it looks like Josh will fall to 7th with the penalties he's got. And we'll jump back now towards Button, who's still behind Major Allen. Again, giving it everything he can here, as the Haas trying to hold on to 8th place. And it'll be a very hard fought and well earned 8th place, to be fair, for Major Allen, especially after qualifying. But you survive the start, the race will come to you towards the end. And for Major Allen, it certainly fell in place here. As the locker, it puts, I think that's the Mercedes' night summed up perfectly.
That was definitely the final nail in the coffin, and another nail in the coffin for the other Mercedes of Gummers. Not the one that they wanted to start off with, but it's the one they've been given. So we're just going to have to move on from this one. No points for either driver, as we see Godfather now on their first off. Still a bit of life on them. You did see his last stint with only 6 or 7 laps, so this is where the tires do start to fade off. So he's got 2 seconds to Sid Sandwich to try to claim this P4 off him. It's going to be pretty tight for him, I think. Well, it seems Cruiser is dead yet again.
3 straight shootouts. 3 straight shootout for unmuting the mic. Maybe I should just stop doing that now. But what I was saying is that Sheriff Woody has not put a foot wrong this whole evening. The race has fell in place for him, and he survived somewhat of a scare. He kept his cool to keep the zeros on as he can, and to keep the damage limited. 3 seconds is going to be a penalty at the end, but the price to pay for such is going to be a first victory in 2 seasons for the Sauber driver. He won at Haas, and now he's going to start another chapter in his little story in FPRL. He's went from 1 Haas, now 1 at Sauber, and it's going to be number 1 for Sheriff Woody around the final corner. The season started in the perfect way. Sheriff Woody, victory in Australia. G Undisputed, a late charge, but will happily accept second place. And now we look back, the veteran of the league, David Lawface, around the final corner, takes the acclaims for Alpine, celebrating already. David Lawface back in the podium in Australia. Sid Sandwich will take a hard-fought fourth. Godfather drops to fifth. Josh, with his penalties, might just fall to seventh, but a hard-fought points finish on debut for the Ferrari driver. Reese's Pieces will take sixth ahead of Josh. Button, is he going to hold off on Major Allen? Yes, he will. Button takes 8th. Major Allen gets points. And Cactus gets points in 10th. Our Drummers just misses it in 11th. Then the Flow will actually beat the Mercedes in the classifications. Then it's the Tattoo Star, Thierry, Locker, and Rayman, the final classified finishers of the evening. And Sheriff Woody, it's like season 8, it all starts off looking up, and he's looking down on the field saying, catch me if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great drive from the Kickstarter driver. Just played the race to perfection. Obviously, a bit of help from the safety car pretty early on in the race, which has really gifted him this one. Just a shame about Jay Undisputed picked up that 3-second time penalty, which kind of put a dent in his hopes and kind of sealed the fate of his race. Great drive as well, though, from David. From the back of the field all the way up to P3, and the only one without a time penalty, which is pretty hard to do right here, it seems.
Certainly, it's certainly a drive to survive for some folk, and Sheriff Woody, G Undisputed, and David Lawface can refresh in some nice tasty champagne for our first night of Season 10 and our first race of Tier 3. As we'll have a look here, that's a lineup you won't see very often on the podium, a Sauber winning the day. But congratulations to Sheriff Woody, second victory in the league. G Undisputed hunting down, if I'm correct, his third victory, and David Lawface hunting down his second victory in a couple of seasons as well. But let them enjoy the podium. And Major Allen saying, he's pretty shocked at that one, to get 9th place from 18th on the grid. A good effort for the Haas driver to get a couple of points on the board after the severe collision involving his teammate Wizard of Oz, down in 17th, not classified in the end after starting on pole. Rainbow, Leonardo and Speedy B all failed to see the flag. And as we look through, the fastest lap bonus point goes to Godfather. And Sheriff Woody, welcome back to the top step, as we'll look to get him and David Lawface in the party. I will get a quick word from Jay through our Discord. And I suppose on that topic, our Discord server, !F1 to join our recruitment server. Complete the sign up steps, we'll get you in the paddock, we'll get you on track for the remainder of Season 10 and what could be the last stand on F1 24. As David Lawface has joined up, Sheriff Woody should hopefully join up in a moment, and I'll get a word from Jay in our Discord server. So a lot to unpack, a lot to unravel, and we'll hopefully get, we'll get a couple of words from our podium men at the end of very intriguing Australian Grand Prix. So as we head up, fail to join the session that I was leaving, as always. And I shall have a look. Where is G Undisputed? He is somewhere in this list. I can't find him. We'll find him eventually. There he is. So we'll get a quick word from Jay as we head eventually to the showroom. And Rosary, your pick? P3 or P1?
I'll take our P3 man shirt tonight. I'll let you have our winner.
Right, as we'll head down to the Alpine, and over to you.
Well, David, podium, P10 started off with. Talk us through that qualifying. Obviously, quite a big gap out at the front. You were stuck in the midfield. How did that go for you? Just wasn't what was last week in pre-season.
Australia's not a track I particularly like. I kind of pulled out that lap, 17.2 it was. And that kind of came out of nowhere, and to be honest, I was quite happy to not be down in P15 odd. That's my pre-race prediction anyway. Carnage, I'm sure you saw. Carnage and Luck carried me through the early parts of that race, or Unluck, as the case may be.
Yeah, we did see a lot of carnage for the first couple of laps. It all started with the pole sitter of Wizard just does not see the lights, and that kind of started it all. Seems that you did avoid all of it, luckily for yourself. That's obviously put you up in this position. Through that safety car, I believe you did box. You started on the mediums. Was it always the case of get them hards to the end?
Yeah, I didn't quite avoid everything. So the reason why I pit at the beginning, before the safety car, half a lap before the safety car, was because something happened at turn 4. Don't know what, but I'd lost half my front wing. So it was a case of box that switched to hards. Yeah, from the second I put them on, I thought, well, I've got to be in with a chance. Of getting actual points. I do need to be taking these to the end, and then we got the safety car, which kind of helped out a hell of a lot.
At what point in that race did you believe the podium was really on for you? Obviously, you're the only driver without the time penalties, which really helped you throughout that whole race. When did it kind of click in the brain that this is the one?
Now, I don't usually have an answer for this, but I actually do on this occasion. Obviously, a few people had incidents in front of me, and unfortunately my teammate among them. So I ended up in P3. I'm like, why on earth am I in P3? People on mediums pitting in front, and I saw a very fast Red Bull coming up behind me. I thought, oh, okay, that's fine. He's got a 3 second, but he's got nice tyres. He's going to be going. He went into the gravel, unfortunately, at Mr. Whippy. And at that point, I even said it in the party, saying that is huge. That is absolutely huge. And I thought, just keep it clean, keep it on the track, and we all good. And it worked out for me.
Yeah, it definitely did work out. Obviously, you had our Godfather in front, had the pit again from being on the softs, which obviously helped you out, give you that bit of gap. But moving on to next week is Portimao. How do you feel about that track? Obviously, it's basically a roller coaster. Do you think it'll be a roller coaster of a ride for the rest of the tier 3s?
Up and down like a roller coaster. Yeah, I quite like the track as a time trial track. It's not great for racing, but to be honest, it's not the worst track in the world. So yeah, it could be a lot of fun. I think the ups and downs really cause havoc with the traction model in this game. So yeah, look forward to it. Cautiously, of course.
Well, hopefully we'll see you back on the podium again next week. But congratulations tonight on that P3, and it's great to see you back up here.
Cheers, thank you. How am I here?
through a little bit of luck, but all skill to keep the 0, David. Good effort in that, and a P3 for yourself. Not quite had a word yet from G Undisputed. Hopefully we get a word quickly before the stream ends. And I don't know if we will. But I'll keep an eye out on that in our Discord server, just in case we do. And actually he's typing right now as we speak. So while Jay gets his response ready, head down to Salber. And Sheriff Woody, welcome back to the top step. Your second victory, and your first victory since Season 8. So obviously with all the carnage unfolding at the start, just take us through the opening couple of laps, because it was fair to say there was a lot going on.
Yeah, the first lap was a right mess for me. I think I got 2 warnings on that. I just really struggled behind Reese, and then God knows what happened in front, and then the safety car came, and yeah, sort of made my race really.
Fair enough, short and sweet, I suppose. As I do, pardon me, I'm filling in my attendance sheets for tier 3. But might as well take the time while I can. And going into the restart, obviously having an early 3-second penalty, that might have put you in an uncomfortable position. But just seeing that gap between yourself and Jay stagnate around 2 seconds, did you think you had enough in it to pull the gap over 3 seconds despite Jay having that penalty?
To be fair, I thought he was going to catch me for a bit. He seemed to be gaining on me for like the first 5, 10 laps when he was behind me, and then the gap just sort of seemed to stay around 2 seconds. I think it came down to like 1.6 at one point, and then I think the tires just evened out, and I managed to keep that gap around 2 seconds for most of the race. Then, as soon as he got that 3 second penalty, it just took a lot of pressure off.
And same as David, we head to Portimao next week, the Circuit Algarve, not Aldrave. Thank you, Trostery. I remember last season. And, well, the Circuit Algarve, is it a track that you like, or is it a track that you just want to attend and see what happens?
Yeah, I've not really driven that track much. Last season was pretty much the first race I've done on it, and like David says, it's a bit of a roller coaster. That, to be fair, so it's probably going to be carnage again, and just hope luck goes my way.
And we'll certainly went your way tonight. And we will have a word from Jay Undisputed before we sign off the stream. The Williams driver started 9th, had the quality potential to be top 5 at track limits with the enemy. Easy done around here. Someone had a mare off the line, that being Wizard of Oz, which I was somehow blessed not to get collected or damaged, but chaos just continued from then, and it was all about drive to survive. Boxed early under the safety car and decided to Hail Mary to the end, and it worked, and says that his rear left tyre was on 87% on the penultimate lap, and suddenly a puncture became my threat. Fortunately, luck was on my side and got P2. On to Portimao, a painful track, and people compare Norris in Sochi 2021 and Jay Undisputed in Portimao 2024. Just enjoy him, with a fist bump emoji. Well, we'll see what the future holds for Jay. But second place to start the campaign. It's not too shabby to start, so I don't want to do that. We'll head back to the Sauber for a race winner. And cross-today, it's that time where we have to pick a co-commentator's driver of the day. So plenty of candidates, a couple of choices. Who gets your pick?
Yeah, it's a good couple of candidates there tonight. Obviously, we have our race winner, has absolutely played that one to a T, been able to keep the tyres in check all the way towards the end of the race. But I will have to give it to David, the only one on the track without any time penalties, which is pretty hard to do. Shows why he is the veteran of the league. A good race from P10. Obviously, a bit of mishaps in the middle or the start of the race. So congratulations on the P3 and the driver of the day. But I do have to give a shout out to Major Al. If it wasn't for his time penalty, it might have just went to him because he had a cracker of a race.
Big up the Alan.
Certainly done his bit. The Haas driver getting a couple of points on the board for the team. And that's going to be it for tonight's Tier 3 opener around Australia. Be sure to tune us all through this week in FPRL. Wednesday, 8 PM UK time, bin off the Champions League. It's all about FPRL, our Tier 2 drivers, myself and the rest of Tier 2. New teams, new alliances, new teammates, but the same old criteria: finish first and become a champion, which I intend on doing. So that's my goal for the season. And be sure to check out Cross-Today and the rest of Tier 1 on Friday, 8 PM UK time on the twitch.tv/FP Racing League. All of our races are streamed on Twitch, ported to YouTube. If you find us on there, Fair Play Racing League, all the one word. And our social media channels are Instagram, I can't imagine what happened to the old one, at fairplay_RL, and our X account, formerly Twitter, at fairplayrl also. Links to our Discord server, !F1 in our Twitch chat. If you want to join FPRL, we are taking names, welcoming all comers, and we'll get you on track soon enough for an outing in Season 10. And what else is on the horizon? We shall find out. But we will find out what Tier 2 have in store on Wednesday night. And on that note, that has been Cross-Today.
Bruiser, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, and a great race to kick us off the season with.
And that it was, Tier 3 doing their bit again, and I also hope to do my bit in Tier 2. But until then, this has been Cruiser 1872. Thank you all very much for watching, and from all of us here at FPRL, a good night.
Goodbye, motherfuckers!